school drug ring, and I'm intrigued to see a private school drug ring and how that works. Because when I think of private school, I think of lacrosse, pickleball, golfing, all that good jazz. I don't ever really think of running a private drug ring because, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Because, like, they get expelled, before I dive into this, drug ring kids, like, in a private school, drug ring, they're going to get expelled, and then their dad's going to be their lawyer.
Kids named Timothy Brooks and Neil Scott had dreams of
I don't even got my audio on. I'm fumbling the bag today, chat.
becoming drug kingpins. They both had recently graduated from Haverford High School, a prestigious $35,000 a year.
See, this is what I'm saying. It costs $35,000 a year for this kid. So what? So that's $140,000 a year, or for 4 years. $140,000 for 4 years. First off, that's crazy. And like, yeah, 35 fucking rack aids. That's crazy, just for the simple fact of, like I said, their dad is their lawyer too. They beat this case.
Private school located in the suburbs of Philadelphia, with alums including Olympic athletes, award-winning actors, and more. It was
Who are
one of
they?
the
I don't
finest
know none of
academic
them.
institutions in the country.
Damn.
And these two guys wanted to control every single drug.
Oh my gosh. He played lacrosse. I'm telling y'all, he's captain of the lacrosse team. And I don't know, this kid looks like a delinquent. This dude looks like a delinquent. I'm not gonna lie.
Sold there. Through strategic
I wouldn't trust
planning,
him.
greed, and threats, the duo grew their operation from a small-time hustle into a full-blown drug ring, recruiting
They recruited little Billy,
numerous
bruh.
high schoolers and college students to push
No
their
way.
products. But their efforts didn't end at Haverford. They set their sights on dominating the entire Philadelphia suburban drug market, targeting.
Okay, first off, you're going from dealing in a high school to dealing statewide in Philly. Some gang shit would happen and they would get destroyed. That would just
Yeah,
let's be
schools
real.
and colleges in the process. But
How
as
much
their
money did they
ambitions
make?
grew, so did the risks.
What-
That have
Yeah, how the fuck do you go from I'm gonna be a drug dealer in my high school to I'm gonna run the state of Philadelphia as a drug lord? What the fuck?
eventually spiraled into one of the most shocking
What are we talking about? We talking about the kids who ran a private school drug ring. Oh my
drug busts
gosh.
in private school history. The township of Haverford is a tranquil one, to say the least, with a population of just over 6,500 engulfed in its tree-lined streets, well-maintained lawns, and
Yeah, bro, we're talking about going from 6,500 people to hundreds of thousands of people. What were they? What?
family.
I have
friendly
to see what
atmosphere,
drug
most would
this
consider
is.
it the
What are
perfect
we
place to
doing?
raise a family. But this safe,
Perfect to
idealistic
raise a
neighborhood
family? My
doesn't come without
ass,
a
dude.
cost. The average annual income of a household in Haverford is over $266 grand. Pair that with an average home price of around $1.2 million, and it's clear that every kid in this neighborhood has a cocaine addiction. Okay, that's a joke, but
$1.4 million per house? Like, that's like the average median of these houses? Are you fucking kidding me? And you result to selling drugs.
the families
I
that
like
live
it.
here are pretty
This
above
is the
average in terms of
society that I
wealth,
long
which
for.
makes it the perfect place for an institution like Haverford High School. This prestigious all-boys prep school is known as one of the finest high schools in the country.
That's
and
the problem. You put a bunch of dudes in one room. We gonna get something done. You put a bunch of men in a room, something gonna happen. Like, they gonna solve something.
has produced all-star
Come on,
humans
bro.
like gold medal Olympians, MLB
They produced the
players,
best drug
actors,
lords in American
singers,
history.
Super Bowl champions, congressmen, Ivy League professors, and more. It's highly regarded by families within the township as it boasts a strong sense of local pride, active community involvement, and excellent schooling. Hence the price tag of $35,000 a year. And
That's
don't get me
fucking
wrong, that's
wild.
a shitload of money for just high school, but it seemed to be worth it for these parents, and especially their kids. One graduate claimed it was an absolutely incredible school to the point where it was perfect. A statement that a kid
The
named
reason the school was fucking perfect, because you was all blown, like, doing blow. What the fuck? Wait. The reason the school was perfect because you guys had access to straight blow at all times. You were all making money at 16, 17 years old. Of course it was fucking perfect. What the fuck? This was happening right under their nose. This is ridiculous work. You had kids handing each other dime baggies in the bathroom and then they would die of fucking ODing. Are we serious?
Neil Scott would agree
This
with.
is impossible.
Despite the story taking place in the lavish Haverford Township, Neil actually grew up in a modest one-story home in Paoli, Pennsylvania, about a 19-minute drive from Haverford. His father, who was a carpenter, sent him to Conestoga High School, a way less expensive but very respectable high school. Here, he played lacrosse and was pretty good at it. So good, in fact, that Haverford recruited him on scholarship his junior year.
So
to
he
play
was
goalie.
cooking shit.
He started
Holy
playing
fuck.
lacrosse and water polo while, of course, also receiving all the benefits of his new prestigious institution. To most of his classmates, he seemed like a typical high schooler, a funny, sarcastic kid who enjoyed the occasional
Yeah,
joke
bro. He
and
was captain. He was captain, bro. He got all the bitches too, bro. They failed to mention that. He got all the bitches too. He had so many women jocking his dick, bro. Had to have. And he had the bread too. Oh my
Solo
gosh.
Cup
If it,
party. But after
will
he
freak the fuck
graduated in
out, bro.
2008, something changed in him. Whether it was the pressures of adult life creeping up on him, something going on at home, or whatever else, Neil was starting to become a different person. He attended Connecticut College.
said dude started turning into the devil. Bro got a full ride and was like perfect at drugs. No, dead ass. Dude woke up in the morning. He looked in the mirror and was like, fuck yeah, full ride athlete, 4.0 GPA, time to sell some cocaine. What the fuck? That don't make no sense to me. I guess, honestly, the money you make from cocaine, bro, I could see the vision. I see the vision. Would I do it? No.
fresh out of high school, and
Probably
as you could
not.
guessed, played
It's
lacrosse
probably not in my
but
best interest.
It seemed like he deteriorated from the all-star goalie he used to be. His teammates described him as a mediocre athlete at best. Some even going
so
as
he
far
wasn't
as
him,
labeling
bro.
him terrible. He would also get pissed off abnormally often. I remember him getting heated.
So
Like,
he
if
was
you
just
fucked with him
angry.
or whatever, he would kind of snap. Neil stopped playing lacrosse after a single
You couldn't pick on, bro. You couldn't have no team banter with this dude, or he would have shot you. No wonder he went into drugs. I get that. That makes sense. So he got a full ride to be ass. Yeah, no, dead ass. He got a full ride to be terrible and a mass criminal. So that might have to be the worst scholarship of all time. You're handing out $140,000 scholarships for someone to be ass and be a drug dealer to ruin your entire school's morale. Like anything based around your school forever on is cursed.
season and quickly engulfed himself in the typical college life of partying, smoking copious amounts of weed, and making fake IDs. Okay, you probably didn't make fake IDs in college, but if you did, thank you for your service. But Neil making fake IDs
Okay,
got him
so he was
kicked
just
out
a
of school
criminal,
after
bro.
just 3 semesters of attending, and he was left with nothing to do. With no concrete plan to
So he
know,
was a
moved to
grown-ass
San
man.
Diego and stayed in a
Wait a
bungalow
minute.
on a beach
Did
to
he
flee the
entice a
drugs and
kid to
trouble
sell
back home.
drugs?
Smart
Is
move
he
to
the
move to
pervert?
California when you're trying to get away from drugs. But thankfully, one of his old Haverford lacrosse coaches was able to get him a coaching job at the LAX West lacrosse program. He worked there
Okay.
for a little bit while also holding a job at a medical marijuana dispensary.
Thai
So much for staying away
Cannabis
from
Club?
drugs
Thai Cannabis Club? What are they doing there?
before moving to another coaching position, this time at a youth program. But like his college career,
At a
that
youth
didn't
program.
last long either. Only 2 months into
You
the
put this
position,
kid around
he
him-
cursed
or
at
this dude
10-year-old
around a
child,
bunch of little
revealing
kids?
His anger issues had stayed with him from college. After being fired, he once again fell into his old routine of being a druggie, but this time with harder drugs like Xanax
Oh,
and other
shit.
prescription pills. His boss at the youth program
What was he
said it
so he
best.
was just
He
smoking
started
weed?
losing grip with reality.
So he was smoking weed and then shot straight to Xanax? Is that what I'm hearing? Is weed a gateway drug?
With seemingly
Wait a
all
minute.
hope lost, Neil moved
From
back to
weed to
Philadelphia
fucking
with absolutely
Xanax?
no clue what his future held. Well, except for one idea. When he returned home by
Whoa.
Ah, no free shout outs. Fuck out of here. Hey, no one download this app if you saw it. Do not download this fucking app. He don't take small jumps. This motherfucker takes leaps. Yeah, bro. He committed. Full on commit. No free shout out.
of 2013, with no cash in his pockets, he hit up an old Haverford teammate, a guy named Stocky Euler, and pitched a genius money-making idea. Yo Stocky, it's Neil from Hford. Just got back from Cali, got a bunch of greens. Know anyone around Philly who might be interested?
Bunch of greens? If someone told me you want to buy some greens from me, I'm not buying shit from you, Buster. I'm not gonna lie. I think you might be a pervert. What do you mean do I want to buy a bunch of greens? What the fuck are we doing here?
Ha ha ha, yo brother, how are you? Like, weight? Doing pretty well, man. Yeah, got a lot of weight. Constant supply. Great numbers. So yeah.
They were talking like true
Neil's
businessmen.
fantastic idea was to deal drugs. However, Stocky
True
wasn't going to be
businessman, chat.
Neil's partner in all of this. A kid named Timothy Brooks was. Timothy had a very different upbringing than Neil, and by different, I mean he was way more loaded. He grew up in
Way more
Villanova,
loaded.
Pennsylvania, where there are wide, leafy streets, houses far enough apart
Is this
where you
his
don't have
house?
to talk to your neighbors, and an average household income of over $400,000.
Average 400,000 household income? Why the fuck are you selling drugs? You could literally live off of your parents' wealth for the rest of your life. That's what I would be doing.
His father, who was an executive at a local HR firm, had more than
Yeah,
enough means.
he could have done anything fucking else. Anything fucking else. His father probably had ridiculous connections, first off. Or his mother, at that.
To afford Haverford High School for his son, and it's safe to say his son enjoyed it thoroughly. Timothy was your typical cool kid type of guy at Haverford.
He walked in hard as fuck, boy. He got mad women jocking on his dick too.
The captain of the lacrosse team, played squash and golf on the side, and
What the fuck is squash? Chat, does anyone know what squash is? What is squash?
was super successful in anything he did. And to top off the persona, he hated school. If someone ever decides to write like Shakespeare again, they should be beat up. His gifted athletic abilities landed him a lacrosse scholarship at the University of Richmond, a school he claimed was everything he wanted. The school has a...
Is that rich people terms for tennis? Squash? Squash might be a sport where they... I don't even know. I was about to say something, and I don't even know if I could have made up something for that. I've never heard of that shit. That shit might be the least interesting sport I've ever heard of. I would never watch a bunch of people play squash. Oh, it's our squash game. What the fuck is squash? Educate me. What is that? Please.
Great academic reputation is in a perfect
I was not
region,
getting ready
and
on
the
Fridays for
campus is
squash,
awesome.
bro.
Life was perfect for Timothy.
Hey,
But
don't
less
beef in
than a
chat. Hey, no beef in chat. No beef in chat, bro. No beef in chat.
Into his freshman year at college, disaster struck. Like Neil, Timothy had to drop out of school almost as quickly as he got there, but not for the same reason. He sustained a terrible shoulder injury, an injury so bad that it required serious...
Hey, first off, we not gonna get in chat talking about we kissing people, bruh. Don't do that. We watching a reaction. Get out of here with kissing people, bro. No one's giving you a kiss, bro.
Surgery and him to drop out of Richmond. This was a devastating blow to Timothy.
So
Lacrosse was
I done lost fucking I lost track of what the fuck was going on, because why the fuck are you in here talking about kissing Cam? What did he do? Why are you kissing Cam?
Life was perfect for Timothy. But
Life was
less than
perfect
a
for
month
Timothy.
into his
That's where we
freshman year
at.
College, disaster struck. Like Neil, Timothy had to drop out of school almost as quickly as he got there, but not for the same reason. He sustained a terrible shoulder injury.
He got
an
beat
injury
up.
So bad
He got
that it
jumped.
required
Hey,
serious
this is his
surgery
villain
and him
arc.
to drop out of Richmond. This was a devastating blow to Timothy. Lacrosse was his identity, and he was so talented at the sport. But this career-ending injury put him in a dark place. A place where he thought that dealing drugs
bro,
with
it was
a
his
fantastic idea.
It was his villain arc, bro. I'm telling y'all. I've seen
While
this before.
sitting in his childhood bedroom, bored out of his mind, Timothy was desperate to earn some money to get out on his own. Even though he smoked in high school, he had never dealt drugs or shown interest in it.
He was never part of criminal activity
anymore threw all logic out the window. It's not clear how Neil and Timothy got in contact. Maybe Neil hit up Timothy in the same way he did Stocky. But regardless of how they reconnected, they
first
started
off,
to
if he
formulate a
was
plan
perving
around the
on
fall
little
of
children to sell
2013 to push
drugs,
some
that's
serious
crazy
amounts
work.
of product. And I mean it when I say serious. Neil and Timothy weren't going to be the stereotypical college dropouts who slung dime bags to 16-year-olds. No, they wanted to control the entire drug market within the Philadelphia suburbs, including all high schools and colleges.
Jumping
Timothy
a whole
texted
city,
Scott,
bro.
"Every nug on the main line is about to come from you and me. We will crush it. Once you go tax-free, it's hard to go back." The main line Timothy was talking about was the Philadelphia main line, a collection of 17 wealthy towns just west of Philadelphia that included Haverford and Villanova. Timothy
It makes
named
sense.
their newfound
But I would feel like all these people are so square that they'll snitch on me immediately. So I would never trust a motherfucker in this particular pentagon, octagon, square, triangle, whatever the fuck that is.
operation, the mainline takeover project, solidifying
They
their
named
ambition
this
of
shit.
becoming
Yeah, bro.
drug
These
kingpins
kids
for
could have been
wealth.
super
But
successful
to
as
have an
CEOs,
operation
bro.
This big, you need to have some sort of concrete plan. The duo knew this and started to plan out what the operation would look like, starting with defining their home base. They landed on using Neil's apartment, a cramped one-bedroom place on the second floor of a flimsy-looking rental house less than 900 feet from Haverford. It seemed like an okay spot, especially considering
the
no
trap
one would
house,
ever
y'all.
go near it because it was, quote, covered in like 500 dog turds, according
Oh,
to
wow.
his neighbors. This is where pounds of weed
Ewy.
from California would be shipped, thanks to Neil's
They were using that shit as fertilizer in their weed, bro. That's why it was so good. I'm telling y'all, dog poop as fertilizer in marijuana might be the code. That might be, we cracked the code, y'all. Is that what we doing?
connections, which he made from working in the dispensary. The duo would take this weed and repackage it for distribution while also dealing within the apartment, which was probably pretty clutch for Haverford students. I mean, they could literally stroll out of 7th period and be less than 3 football fields away from snagging some bud. But okay, the base of
yeah, I
operations
would.
was set in stone.
I'd walk over
But
there,
how are
especially
they
if it
going
was
to take
fire.
over the main line's drug supply? It's not like they had any connections to the drug dealing world, so what would they do? Well, they utilized the only connections they had left: the Haverford lacrosse team. You see, the elite school's lacrosse program was a tight-knit group. The powerhouse team thought of themselves as elite and had their own culture, a culture that was bound together by recreational drug use.
They preyed on rich children. The dumbass Chads were all their victims, bro.
A Haverford grad said, if you took one sport and said which one parties the most, it's the lacrosse guys.
They get
And
busy.
the duo planned
They
on
get
fully
Cindy, bro. They get Cindy. They do this shit, bro.
utilizing that aspect of their bond to get their old teammates to deal drugs for them.
I
Timothy
might
and
get
Neil's
Cindy
plan
right
had them
now.
jittering with excitement. I mean, they both had similar stories: a great high school life, a dark turn post-graduation, and now a need for a sense of accomplishment. They had the
Man,
motivation
because they had
to
nothing else
accomplish
going for them, and everybody else
something,
around them
but
was
after they lost
successful
what
and
they
had
loved
bread
doing, they didn't know
because
what
they
that
used their
something could
family's
be.
fucking $400,000
Sorry,
income.
those
No
dogs-
free shout out. No free shout out. Their $400,000 income to become successful without doing that shit illegally.
Now they did. According to an ex-coach from Haverford, most alumni go on to become great fathers and husbands and give back to the prep school in the form of money or time. But instead of those things, the duo was going to give back drugs. In October 2013,
That's
Neil
crazy.
and Timothy officially began the mainline takeover project and got off to a decent start. Neil successfully recruited 2 lacrosse friends right off the bat, a 23-year-old named Chester Simmons and, as we
Chester, boy. Oh, Chester was definitely slanging shit fast.
saw before, a 23-year-old named
I wouldn't have trusted this dude, though. This dude looks like he would give me the gram of weed that I asked for and then do terrible fucking things to me. Chester don't even got a face scan. Yeah, Chester doesn't got a face scan, but that's because Chester's mysterious and makes good deals. This motherfucker touches you and makes you feel crazy.
Stocky Euler. Timothy, on the other hand, brought in an 18-year-old senior at Haverford named Dan McGrath.
That's the motherfucker that was hurting people. That's
A
the
guy Timothy
bodyguard.
described as a highly motivated poor kid. Just
Yeah,
convinced
bro.
my Haverford guy to build his empire and
Come
stop
on,
the
bro. He was the
Sounds
boxer.
good to me. Like those kinds of kids. But of course, these kids weren't the only ones dealing. Neil and Timothy were putting in equal, if not more, effort to push product. And the kids that came by home base to cop knew they weren't fucking around. One kid who bought from them remembered climbing up the creaky wooden staircase of Neil's apartment and entering his living room to see the ounce of weed he was buying next to a 9mm handgun. He had his guns out in plain view, the guy recalls. White kids see a gun, myself included, and they're not going to cause a problem. Now, personally,
Man, bro. You whip out a gun on me, bruh, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna pull your pants down, bro. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna apologize and pull your pants down, bruh, because I'm not dying, bro. I can't. I value my life too much.
I wouldn't be the type of guy to keep buying drugs from a crackhead looking fellow with a gun, but this threatening aura seemed to work. Over the first few months in operation, the mainline takeover project was going precisely as planned. Timothy kept supplying his 18-year-old senior, and Neil would drive ounces to Lafayette and Gettysburg College to
It stated guns. I want to know what guns. Fucking 9mm, MP5s, AK-47s, RPGs, grenades, C4, 1911s, Glock 17s, Gen 7 with the long slide, John Wick style. You and me keep going. M9 Berettas. I was there, bro. Look, I'm telling you, they would have never killed me because I was there. I was the head of it all.
supply Chester and
All right, I
Saki,
shouldn't say that
while
on
also
camera. I
continuing
actually
their
had
efforts
nothing to
to
do with these
recruit more high
dudes.
school kids.
I actually
Tim
had
and
not a
Neil were
soul
drooling at the
to do with these
opportunity on
dudes.
their hands, and they were already dreaming bigger. I don't know what you make in a week, but I want to make $2,000 if I do this.
Gosh,
and there are still a lot of
dang,
holes to
bruh.
fill because I have to grow my business. I'll be straight with you on how I flip it, and we can work out the numbers. I'll help you with whatever I can. 2,000 is definitely feasible. Like I said,
These
I'm trying to start a
dudes are
business, and
weed
I'm learning how to
businessmen.
run this one well. Just have to find the right people, and don't rush it. Everything has a way of falling into line. Yeah, the question is, can I find the right guy that can run that operation? And it turns out they found a ton more people that could do it. Timothy and Neil were getting really good at recruiting more people into their operation and expanding their network of sub-dealers. Timothy took a more good
hello.
cop approach, offering to help dealers wherever they needed it while being ultra professional with his interactions. And by
Good man,
professional,
good man.
I mean like legit business professional. He would visit various high schools in the main line, such as Lower Merion, Radnor, and Harriton, and woo high schoolers while wearing a full-blown suit and playing up the bling aspect of his trade. While showing these kids the large
He
amounts
was
of pot he had, he would
flexing on the children to entice them to join him. That is psychological warfare that I did not know existed.
convince them to join the operation by
That is good
offering drugs.
moves. Hold up. I'm going to start dressing real fancy and I'm going to tell people some shit and let's see if it gets done. I'm going to dress up real fancy, flash my Rolex. I'm going to have my grills in. I'm going to pull up in my Mercedes AMG and I'm going to holler at them.
On credit and being very relaxed with his enforcement. My mainline takeover project is coming together fast, and I'm telling all of my guys I never want their schools to be dry, cause I always got pissed as shit when I couldn't find Bud. This last
Bro had his dad's $4,000 or $400,000 watch. I was like, yeah, I bought this from Dylan. You could be like me too. Nah, bro, that's how it works.
week made me
That's good
realize
moves.
how much I love money. Yes, he would keep in close contact with his guys and make sure there was never a drought of drugs within his high schools, but he never issued any threats. Unlike Neil, this man took a way more aggressive approach.
This dude
constantly
is evil. I
pushing his
told y'all
guys
he
to
hurt people,
identify
bruh.
new customers and carrying a menacing tone when they didn't do what
Golly,
he wanted.
son.
You have a $1,000 bounty on your head. I will find you. Piece of shit. Heard you ripped off more people on your campus. Between the nice guy and dickhead approach, the duo was
Good
quickly
lord.
expanding
He was
into
talking
many
about
more
killing
high schools
people
and
on
colleges.
site.
They tapped into 5 different high schools and 3 colleges while recruiting
Damn.
9 total sub-dealers in the process. Not bad for being in business for only 4 months. With their now enlarged
That's almost,
network of
wait,
drug
that's
dealing
almost, what? That's one dealer per school. And then I guess one dealer who deals to cat. I don't know. That's one dealer per school though.
kids
I know
and
that
more
math
money
right.
coming in from offering different products like cocaine and ecstasy, the guys couldn't have
Oh
been
my
happier with how
goodness.
things were going. When you were a senior at Haverford, did you ever think you could pull that? Only dreamed it. There is a much bigger market than just a pound at each of these schools. Conestoga alone is a couple a week. Neil and Timothy finally had a sense of accomplishment in their life.
Oh, they tried
all
to
of
go
their
big,
hardships were in the
big.
past, and now all they could think about doing was tackling more schools, slinging more drugs, and growing the mainline takeover project as much as they could. This operation was everything they could have asked for. But in the blink of an eye, it all came crumbling down. It turns out that while the duo was actively growing their operation, the Montgomery County's narcotics enforcement team was actively building a case against them. In January
Damn, caught their
2014,
ass
less
mad
than
early.
2
Hold
months
up.
after the genesis of the mainline takeover project, the NET was hot on their trail, piecing together their operation from the ground up. And it wasn't a hard one to piece together at all. You see, Timothy and Neil might have had a great education in the traditional sense, but they didn't grow up as drug dealers. Simply put, they had
So they had no
absolutely
street
no
smarts?
fucking clue how to run a drug operation. Sure, they were recruiting sub-dealers fast and moving weight quickly, but they didn't think about protecting themselves at all. All of their sub-dealers used their personal cell phones to communicate. Phones that were easy to track down by the NET. after they
Dumbasses,
received
bro. Hold up. These are the smartest dummies I've ever fucking seen. This is dumb. They're idiots.
Some anonymous tips. The team was able to pinpoint 4 of the duo's sub-dealers and set
Wow.
up controlled drug buys to capture them. The first was a 17-year-old nicknamed MGM, who was known for flexing his shoe collection and posting about his drug dealing on Instagram. How dumb can you get? When MGM's controlled buy took place, he tried to save grace by launching his jars of weed out of his childhood bedroom. But the jars literally landed in the arms of a detective and he was arrested shortly after. The remaining 3 dealers were successfully caught too, and according to
I know why he was caught. This kid snitched immediately, bro. I gotta hear it.
All of them admitted to dealing, sending incriminatory text messages, and would later snitch on Neil and Timothy.
Bro.
The NET now had more than enough information to confront the duo. Timothy was up first and was shell-shocked when detectives knocked on his childhood home and arrested him on February 28th, 2014.
Look at him. He was in a suit and everything, bro. He was ready.
Luckily for him, he didn't really have much on him, just a pound of kush and $800. But Neil's bust was a different story. The detective seized about 8 pounds of marijuana, 23 grams of cocaine, 11 grams of ecstasy, 3 grams of hash oil, and $11,000 in cash from Neil, along with 3 books about massively successful drug.
They were educating themselves. Dr. Diller, rise and fall of all-American boy and his multi-million-dollar cocaine empire. The Cornbread Mafia, a homegrown syndicate's code of silence and the biggest marijuana bust in American history. And then they got a big-ass marijuana bust in American history. How the cookie crumbles. My life from mafia soldier to cocaine cowboy to secret government asset, American desperado. Bro. And they didn't educate themselves enough.
After the dust had settled from their arrest, the NET finally had time to go through both the guys' cell phones, collecting a treasure trove of incriminating information from their text messages. They found communications about everything, from texts about meeting up with dealers, how much they were going to pay, all the different kinds of
there's
drugs
no
they
fighting
sold,
this, bro.
Their cell phones revealed the entire scope of their business, and when April 21st, 2014 rolled around, it was finally time for them to face the music. On that spring afternoon, Timothy was the first to arrive at the courthouse in Ardmore, a mile east of Haverford High
That's
School.
crazy.
His partner showed up shortly after, looking much more pissed off.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Dude, I'd be mad too. You're going to jail for
and 9
life.
suspected sub-dealers, along with 2 juveniles, stood in front of the judge on counts much more severe than dealing.
Look, everybody
They were
there
charged
is
with
so
manufacturing and
disappointed.
delivering controlled substances, criminal conspiracy, and dealing in a corrupt organization, among
They're going to jail for life.
other drug-related charges.
They're going to jail for life.
And the community of
Bro was
Haverford
cheesing in
was
that motherfucker, was ready to
dumbfounded.
fight
The
shit.
duo's
Yeah, no, dead
parents
ass.
were in no
He
rush
was
to talk
pissed.
to anyone, with both families slamming their front doors in the face of reporters as a clear sign. Some people in their lives, however, were more open to speaking. It's crushing to me. These guys are not too far removed from the program. I feel bad for their families. It's sad,
bro.
It's
They
the ultimate
both got
backstab.
disclaimed
We couldn't
from
have done more
familyhood,
for this
bro.
kid, and it was thrown back in our face. Buried at the core of this scandal, the Haverford
That's
school tried to
crazy
remain
work.
quiet. They instructed staff to stay silent and would postpone interviews left,
They
right, and
ruined
center
this
to
school's
avoid speaking
they
up about the
ruined
situation.
8
But
schools'
it seemed like they were
reputations.
saving their statement for the graduating class of 2014. I'll briefly just touch on the subject that's been the subject of more media than I could ever imagine. And I'll declare from
Destroyed
this
that
stage
shit,
and
bro.
from any pulpit that I can get that the Haverford School will not be defined by the bad decisions of a few people. We as a community, all the faculty, all the parents, all the students will not let that happen. We will fight to continue to earn our well-deserved outstanding reputation as an extraordinary school with remarkable boys.
Y'all boys are not remarkable. They're remarkable and actually extraordinary when it comes to selling drugs, but they're dumbasses at the same time. They got caught. If they were extraordinary, they wouldn't have got caught, first off. I hope this encouraged all of them for the 8 seconds that this was spoken. I hope it encouraged them, and then they peaked because of this moment, though.
The scandal that rocked Haverford wasn't just about drugs.
Oh,
It was
bro,
about
he
the
was buying
stunning
from them.
contrast between the privilege and promise of the duo and the choices they made. As one of Timothy's friends told the Washington Post, this is a huge story because of the prestige of the schools involved. It's the uniqueness of the perpetrator.
Love Roblox.
No free shout out! Sorry. I should have done a trigger warning, but I do not agree with no free shout outs, bro. I'm not shouting out anything, bro.
You see, these weren't kids who just grew up on the streets with nothing to lose. These were kids from affluent families in affluent neighborhoods who were given access to one of the best educations in the country. And that's what makes this story so interesting. Neil and Timothy had every advantage in life: supportive families, access to elite schooling, a head start most people would dream of. And yet they threw it all away. Instead of leveraging their education,
they really
to
did. They threw that shit all the way away, bro.
They chose to take a detour into drug dealing, believing they could build a Pablo Escobar level drug ring. But
they thought
it wasn't
they were
their ambition that led to their downfall. It was their profound miscalculation, thinking that they could blend their privileged upbringing with the reckless world of drug dealing, without realizing they were wholly unprepared for what they were getting into. And the repercussions of their actions spoke to that. A little while later, in October of the same year, Timothy and Neil pled guilty to all of their charges.
I would have pled guilty
and their
too.
Final court appearance later that month would be the day they finally got sentenced. But it ended up not being so bad for one of them. That day was a lot different than their initial appearance in April. While the scandal was still piping hot back then, it had cooled down a lot at this point, with barely any reporters covering the sentencing. What seemed to have taken their place was family. Timothy's family, to be exact, who were all there in support. And it wasn't just his father, mother, and brother. It was everyone in his life. His therapist, his boss, his Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor. Around 50 people came out to support and speak on behalf of the 19-year-old defendant. And their touching stories really resonated with the judge. Timothy was given a very light sentence for his crimes, only 9 to 23 months in county jail and 5 years probation. Unlike Neil, who had nowhere near the same support and received 5 to 15 years in state prison. And better yet, Timothy finally didn't take his lucky situation for granted. While being in jail for 7.5 months, surrounded by more drug use than ever, he got completely sober by sticking with healthy habits like working, exercising, writing letters, and maintaining contact with his extensive support system. An impressive feat, considering he had been drinking and doing drugs since he was 14. Upon his release, he was accepted into a new college, a school called Cabrini, where he made the lacrosse team and even won a D3 national championship. After graduating in 2019, he founded Synergy Houses, 2 sober living homes for men, and regularly speaks about his story of dealing drugs and his path to sobriety to this day. Neil, on the other hand, is likely still serving his lengthy prison sentence, as there's been no info publicly released suggesting otherwise.
No, that's crazy. First off, that dude did definitely get a slap on the wrist. That is without a doubt. That was a crazy slap on the wrist. But we're on to the next.